I've recognized that when I was younger in our career, I kind of thought like my job, and I think that's kind of what we're getting at. The advisor's job is like, give me this perfect plan and have all of the answers and know everything. And the freedom that came for me of that image was, oh, I'm the guide. I'm not the expert who has to know everything. So I'm allowed to just go like, okay, guys, here's what we have available and let's go do it. And let's take the next steps and then let's make changes because we don't know what lies ahead, but we have the best knowledge and the best tools we have. And then we'll make the next step. And I think that a thing that hit with me was a friend of mine mentioned that when they were doing the Apollo space programs, they called their trajectory that they took to the moon integrity. And so they would be measuring the integrity, basically that flight path that you're speaking of. Yeah. But to me, that goes back to the clients, is that the clients need to go through that process with their integrity intact. Yeah. So they're the ones creating the plan. They're the ones that we're helping create the course. And they're the ones that are allowed to shift the course as we go on. They might fly halfway across the country and realize they don't want to be in New York. They want to be in Miami. Yeah. So we need a new flight plan mid-flight, and that's okay. We can do that.
Yeah. Not only is it okay, I like the idea of actively. So you set a course, and I sort of, I spend a lot of time in the mountains. And one of the reasons I spend a lot of time in the mountains is I make a really detailed plan, especially like backcountry skiing and avalanche terrain. I will make a very detailed plan of exactly where I'm going that day and what will happen. And then when I go, I know for sure that the day won't go according to the plan. Mm-hmm. And I also know further that the best parts of the day will probably be things that I didn't plan on happening. And so I love the idea of like, not only is it okay for your goals to change, you should expect it. And the literature on navigating complex adaptive systems like we're talking about here is you should actively look for disconfirming evidence, right? So you have an assumption about what you want retirement to look like, or you have an assumption about where you want your kids to go to school. You can have that as a strong opinion, and then you hold on to it loosely and look for disconfirming evidence and where you're wrong. And how does disconfirming evidence shows up? It shows up in action. So like you take a small step towards it and you get new information. So I just think the idea of being a guide in a shifting landscape, not defending an outdated financial plan, like new information showed up. Mm-hmm. If clients understand that, if your listeners understand that, then they realize like this is at the very least a co-creative process. And it's probably much more like a guide who says, hey, look, I got all the tools. I got a whole backpack full of tools. Let's just go see what we find. This is an adventure.
Yeah. And it takes pressure off of everyone, right? Because then you allow that space to co-create and then try and then come back together and make changes. Right.
Yeah. I love that. And it's also like, I initially, when I was thinking about this framework, I wanted to call it reality-based financial planning. Because it's like all we're talking about here is like we can pretend and defend that line all we want, or we could live in reality, which is, and the dilemma for clients, for us, all of us humans, when we're trying to make these decisions for our own lives, is it's a bit scary to accept reality. It's sometimes easier to pretend like everything is indeed black and white because the nuance presents uncertainty. And so I think we can now focus that energy we were putting on defending reality. We can focus that energy instead on like, okay, what new information showed up? How can I be more flexible? Oh, it turns out the kids don't want to go to that school. Yeah. Your alma mater that you were sure they were going to go to because they have to go to the football games. Right. And one of your kids wakes up and says, I want to be an electrician.